Hello everyone. So welcome to EduTap and welcome to today's session. So I hope you all are preparing very well for the SEBI Grade A 2025 examination. And today is your concept revision series for your session for your economics. Okay, so there are going to be three parts where we are going to discuss the MCQs. Okay, and through the MCQs we will be revising. So first of all, give me a thumbs up if I am clearly audible and visible, and I hope everything is good, everything is fine. And today we are going to continue with the concept revision series, and today we are going to discuss the concepts regarding the economics. In today's session we are going to discuss the 25 MCQs, and there are going to be three parts. Okay, in each of the part we will discuss 25 MCQs so that you can revise multiple concepts through these series, through these sessions. Okay, so thank you for joining the session first of all, and give me a thumbs up if everything is fine. Okay, so now without any delay, let's start with the session. But before that, do subscribe to the YouTube channel of EduTap so that you continue getting these relevant videos, and do join our Telegram channel where you will get the PDF of the session. Okay, so the PDF of the session you will get in the Telegram channel, and you will get this in 24 hours. So if you want to download the PDF of the session, you can download it through the Telegram channel of EduTap. Chalo. So starting with the first question. So this is the first question in front of you, a very easy question. So we are going to start with the easy question, then we are going to go to the tough question so that you have the idea that how you can answer the different types of questions, the easy questions, the moderate questions, the difficult questions. So starting with the first question, which of the following best describes the law of supply? So I hope you know that what is the law of supply. Okay, the law of supply is quite important from the examination perspective. So starting with the first question about the law of supply. So which of the following best describes the law of supply? So the law of supply, I hope you know that the law of supply shows the direct relationship. It shows the direct relationship between the price and the quantity supplied. Okay, it shows the direct relationship between the price and the quantity supplied. So if the price is increasing, the supply will increase. If the price is decreasing, the supply will decrease. Okay, so there is a direct relationship between the price of a commodity and the quantity supplied of that commodity. So there is ceteris paribus, means other things remaining constant. Okay, so here, yes, the answer is E. So all the other statements, they are saying the different things, but the last statement is talking about the law of supply, that there is a direct relationship between the price of a commodity and the quantity supplied of that commodity, ceteris paribus, other things remaining constant. So that is the law of supply. So law of supply, here you can see that as the price is increasing, as the price of the commodity is increasing, the supply will increase. As the price is decreasing, the supply will decrease. Okay, so there is extension of supply. There is extension of supply. As the price is increasing, supply will increase. There is contraction of supply. As the price is decreasing, supply will decrease. Okay, so this is the idea. Now there is also law of demand. That is also very important from the examination perspective. Law of demand says that there is inverse relationship between price of a commodity and the quantity demanded. If the price is increasing, demand will decrease. If the price is increasing, demand will decrease. If the price is decreasing, demand will increase. Now coming to the second question, I hope you will be easily able to answer this question also. So you have to use a little logic of yours also in this question. So which of the following will cause a rightward shift of the supply curve of a product? So there is the shift. So this is the supply curve. So this is the supply curve. And here we see that if the price is increasing, the supply will increase. Okay, now supply curve, what will cause the rightward shift in supply curve? That means at the same price, the supply will increase. So what can cause the increase in supply at the same price? So an increase in cost of raw material. If the raw material cost is increasing, the profits will decrease. So supply will decrease. So no, this cannot cause the rightward shift. A new technology that reduces the production cost. If the new technology is introduced that is reducing the production cost, that means cost of production is reducing. The cost of production is reducing, that means profits will increase and the producers will want to supply more at the same price. So yes, this seems like the answer, but let's see the other options also so that we are very sure. Increase in regulations. If there are more regulations, that means there is more like restrictions on the supply, or there is more restrictions on the production. So this can reduce the supply. Natural disasters will reduce the supply. Decrease in number of producers can reduce the supply. So only the new technology that reduces the production cost can increase the supply as it provides more profits. So B is the right answer. Very good. Everyone has given the right answer. So you can see that there can be shift, there can be rightward shift. Okay, there can be rightward shift or there can be leftward shift. There can be increase in supply or decrease in supply at the same price because of different reasons. The increase in supply can be because of the favorable natural conditions, fall in input prices, improved technology, the lower product taxes or the less costly regulations. While the decrease in supply, the supply can decrease because of poor natural conditions, rise in input prices, that means the cost of production is increasing, decline in technology or higher product taxes or more costly regulations. Now coming to the next question, an increase in petrol prices. If petrol prices are increasing, the demand for car will decrease. The decrease in demand for car. So if the petrol prices are increasing, there is more cost of running this car. So if the petrol prices are increasing, the demand for car can reduce. This can lead to what kind of effect in the demand curve of the car? So this is the demand curve of the car. As the price of car increases, the demand decreases. Okay, but here with the increase in petrol prices, the price for car is same. But with the increase in petrol prices, the demand for car is reducing. The demand for car is reducing. Okay, so the reduction in demand for car, this will cause leftward shift. This will cause leftward shift in demand curve of car. It is not causing the movement. Movement is, see, I hope you know that this is the demand curve. If the price is decreasing, there will be increase in demand. So this is the rightward movement. While if price is increasing, the demand will decrease. This is leftward movement. So movement is when the price is changing, and with the change in price of the commodity, the demand of the commodity is changing. The shift happens when at the same price of the car, at the same price of the commodity, the change in demand is happening. Okay, so the right answer here is D. You have to read all the statements carefully, then you have to answer. That's why I am saying that read the statements carefully and do not have this kind of confusion. Okay, so basically with the decrease in price or with the increase in price of petrol, with the same price of car, there will be decrease in demand for the cars. So this causes leftward shift in the demand curve of car. So this is the answer. D is the answer. Okay. So there can be shift in the demand curve. Okay, there can be shift in the demand curve. Rightward shift, that means at the same price, there is increase in demand, there is increase in price, there is increase in demand. Okay, at the same price, there is increase in demand. That causes rightward shift. Okay, this can be because of greater popularity of the product. Population is increasing, so demand is increasing. Income is increasing, so demand is increasing. Price of substitute or price of complements, this we will discuss in the coming slides more. But if the complement, the petrol and cars are used together, so if the price of petrol is increasing, the demand for car will reduce. If the petrol price is decreasing, if the price of complement is decreasing, the demand for the car will increase. This is the idea. Okay, so movement is caused by the price, of the same product, but the shift is caused by the other factors, Now coming to the next one. So I hope this is very much clear, and we will discuss about the substitutes and complements more when we discuss about the cross elasticity of demand. But at the same price of, let's say we are talking about cars, so at the same price of cars, the demand of cars can increase because of more income of the people, or because of more population, because of more popularity of cars, or because of the increase in income. As well as at the same price of the car, the demand for car can reduce with the taste of cars reducing, population reducing, or income reducing. Okay, so at the same price, the demand for cars can also reduce. Now, when the price of movie tickets increased by 10%, the quantity of tickets demanded decreased by 25%. The demand for movie tickets in this case is what? And the price elasticity of demand is what? So that you have to tell. So I hope you know that the price elasticity of demand, what is the formula of price elasticity of demand? So the formula of price elasticity of demand is percentage change in price. With the percentage change in price, there is percentage change in demand. So if there is percentage change in price, if there is 10% increase in price, so there is 25% fall in demand. With the increase in price, the demand is falling. So the price elasticity of demand is 2.5. And the negative sign shows that with the increase in price, the demand is falling. So 2.5 is the price elasticity of demand, and the price elasticity of demand, if it is greater than 1, that means there is elastic demand. There is elastic demand that can change easily. Okay, there is elastic demand. So that's why the answer is C here. Very good. So the demand for movie ticket in this case is elastic, as the demand can change a lot with the slight change in the price, and the price elasticity of demand is 2.5. The negative sign shows that if the price is increasing, the demand is decreasing. Okay, so very good. Now, the price elasticity of demand, percentage change in demand with the percentage change in price, and the elastic demand is when there is price elasticity of demand that is greater than 1. With the percentage change in price, there is greater change in demand. The price elasticity of demand is less than 1. That means price elasticity of demand is less than 1 when the percentage change in price is higher in comparison to percentage change in demand, when the demand is not changing by much. Okay, when the demand is not changing by much with the change in price, with the percentage change in price, so then the price elasticity of demand is less than 1. That means demand is not changing by much with the change in price. Okay, as well as the price elasticity of demand is equal to 1 when the percentage change in price is equal to percentage change in demand. The price elasticity of demand is equal to 0. That means there is no change in demand with the change in price. The price elasticity of demand is equal to infinite. That means with the percentage change in price, there is infinite change in demand. Okay, now the percentage change in demand means change in demand divided by original demand multiplied by 100. Percentage change in price is your change in price divided by original price multiplied by 100. Okay, so if we write it, if we open it further, so change in demand divided by original demand multiplied by change in price. So this 100 is getting crossed out and we are taking it above. So with price divided by change in price. So this is the formula. Okay, change in demand divided by original demand multiplied by price divided by change in price. Okay, so this is another formula for the elasticity of demand. Now, coming to the next question, try to answer this question. If income increases by 20%, so income is increasing by 20%, and with the increase in income by 20%, the demand is increasing from 50 to 70. Find the income elasticity of demand. So here you have to find the income elasticity of demand. What is the formula of income elasticity of demand? With a percentage change in income, there is percentage change in demand. Okay, so with the change in income, there is change in demand. With the increase in income, if the demand is increasing, this is for the normal goods. This is for the normal goods. With a percentage change in income, that is 20%, there is change in demand. Change in demand divided by original demand multiplied by 100. So that shows the percentage change in demand. So change in demand is by 20. Original demand is by 50 multiplied by 100. So this is 40%, we can say. 40% is the percentage change in demand divided by 20% change in income. So the income elasticity of demand is how much? The income elasticity of demand is how much? I hope you were able to answer this question. The income elasticity of demand is 2 here. Okay, so the answer is D. Yes, correct, Sandeep. The answer is D here. Okay, so basically the percentage change in income, with the percentage change in income, there is percentage change in demand. Percentage change in demand means change in demand divided by original demand multiplied by 100. So change in demand is 20 divided by original demand of 50 multiplied by 100. So that is 40%. So percentage change in demand is 40%. Percentage change in income is 20%. So the income elasticity of demand is 2. Income elasticity of demand is 2. So you can see that if the income elasticity of demand is greater than 1, that means it is for the luxury goods. If the income elasticity of demand is less than 1 but greater than 0, this is usually for the necessary goods. Inferior goods have negative income elasticity of demand. Inferior goods have negative income elasticity of demand, as the inferior goods, they have less than 1 or less than 0 income elasticity of demand. Okay, so for the normal goods, the income elasticity of demand is greater than 1. For the normal goods, the income elasticity of demand is greater than 0, we can say, greater than 0. So normal goods can be luxury goods, or the normal goods can be the basic or necessity goods. For the luxury goods, the income elasticity of demand is greater than 1, but for the basic or necessity goods, the income elasticity of demand is less than 1 but greater than 0. So that means normal goods have a positive income elasticity of demand. Okay, so there is a positive income elasticity of demand for normal goods. For luxury goods, greater than 1. For basic or necessity goods, less than 1 but greater than 0. So positive income elasticity of demand for the normal goods. Now inferior goods, for the inferior goods, the income elasticity of demand is negative, is less than 0. That is the idea. Chalo, a commodity has positive income elasticity of demand but negative price elasticity of demand. That means with the increase in price, the demand is decreasing, but with the increase in income, the demand is increasing. This is for which kind of good? Is it for inferior good? Is it for normal good? Is it for given good? Which kind of good is it? Try to think about it. With the increase in price, the demand is decreasing, but with the increase in income, the demand is increasing. With the increase in income, the demand is increasing. With the increase in price, the demand is falling. Which kind of good is it? It is an inferior good, or it violates the law of demand. So it is a given good. It is a normal good. It has constant total expenditure. It is a normal good. Very good. Very good. It is a normal good. Because for the normal goods, if the price is increasing, the demand will fall. For the normal goods, if the income is increasing, the demand will increase. Okay. In the case of inferior goods, in the case of given goods, if the income is increasing, the demand should fall. Okay. So basically, it is the normal good. For the normal good have a positive relationship with the income and they have a negative relationship with price. Inferior goods, or even the inferior goods, they have negative relationship with income and they have negative relationship with price. Given goods, they have negative relationship with income, but they have positive relationship with price. So remember this, okay? So this is what you have to remember. This is a table that you have to keep in mind. So that is the idea. Now moving forward with the next question. X and Y are goods. Are what kind of goods? Are they unrelated goods, complement goods, substitute goods? If the cross elasticity of demand, is positive 0.5. Now with the price of X rising, if there is percentage increase in price, if there is percentage change in price of X, there is percentage change in demand of Y. Okay, with the price of X increasing, the demand of Y is increasing. So what is this kind of good? First of all, the cross elasticity of good, is it a substitute good or the complementary good? So first of all, you must know that what kind of good it is. What kind of good it is. So basically, if the X and Y, they have cross elasticity of demand equal to 0.5, positive 0.5. Positive cross elasticity of demand is in case of substitute goods. That means if the price of Coke is increasing, the demand for Pepsi will increase. Okay, so substitute goods, they have positive cross elasticity of demand. So either C or E can be the answer. Now if the cross elasticity of demand is 0.5 and there is a percentage change in price by 10%, price is changing by 10%, so demand will change by how much? Demand of Y. If the price of X is changing by 10%, demand of Y will change by 5%. Okay, because 10% multiplied by 0.5 multiplied by 10%, so that is equal to 5%. 5% is the percentage change in demand of Y. So the answer here is E. Okay, so cross elasticity of demand, it is equal to percentage change in price of X with the percentage with the percentage change in price of X with the percentage change in price of Coke. There is percentage change in demand of Y. There is percentage change in demand of Pepsi. So if the price of Coke is increasing, the demand for Pepsi will increase. So cross elasticity of demand is positive. Okay, in the case of substitute goods. So substitute goods, you can see they have positive more than 0. They have positive cross elasticity of demand. Complement goods, they have negative cross elasticity of demand. And the unrelated goods, they have 0 cross elasticity of demand. Cross elasticity of demand shows that with the percentage change in price of Y, there is percentage change in demand of X. Okay, so this is the idea. And here the cross elasticity of demand was 0.5. So with the percentage change in price by 10%, there is 10% change in price. So the change in demand, the percentage change in demand was 5%. That was the idea. Chalo, now coming to the next question. If you have if you have understood about the cross elasticity of demand, if you remember about the income elasticity of demand, so you will be easily able to answer this question. So try to answer this question. So if the cross elasticity of demand is positive and the income elasticity of demand is negative, then which of the following can be inferred from this given information? So cross elasticity of demand is positive and the income elasticity of demand is negative. Cross elasticity of demand is positive when the goods are substitute goods, when the goods are substitute goods, and the income elasticity of demand is negative. The income elasticity of demand is negative in case the good is inferior good. Okay, so remember this very clearly, that cross elasticity of demand is positive when there are substitute goods. Cross elasticity of demand is negative when there are complementary goods. Okay, the inferior goods, they have the negative income elasticity of demand. The inferior goods, they have the negative income elasticity of demand. So the cross elasticity of demand is positive, so substitute goods, and X has a negative income elasticity of demand, so it is an inferior good. So the answer here is B. Okay, so basically cross elasticity of demand is positive for the substitute goods and income elasticity of demand is negative for the inferior goods. This is the idea. The goods are not complementary, they are substitute goods. The cross elasticity of demand is positive, so they are substitute goods. Okay, Himanshu? Is it clear? If the cross elasticity of demand is positive, the goods are substitute goods. And if the income elasticity of demand is negative, the good is inferior good. Chalo. Now, when a small fall in price with a small decrease in price, there is a small or smaller fall in quantity supplied. So the elasticity of supply is, with a small fall in price causes a smaller fall in quantity supplied. So with a slight percentage change in price, there is very small percentage change in supply. Okay, so with the decrease in price, the supply is decreasing, but by a smaller percentage. So there will be less than 1. The elasticity of supply will be inelastic. The elasticity of supply will be inelastic, less than 1. Yes, very good. So this is the idea. Usually, see, supply can be inelastic for the agricultural products. For the agricultural products, the supply is inelastic because the supply cannot change for the agricultural products very easily. Okay, so if the price is increasing, the supply can increase very slightly, or if the price is decreasing, the supply can be decreased from the market very slightly. For the manufactured products, with the increase in price, supply can increase more drastically, and with the decrease in price, the supply can decrease more drastically. So for the agricultural products, there is inelastic supply. With the increase in price, the supply can increase very slightly. With the decrease in price, the supply can decrease slightly from the market. For the manufactured products, there is elastic supply. With the increase in price, the supply can increase more drastically, and with the decrease in price, the supply can decrease more drastically. This is the idea. So there is elastic supply for manufactured products and such. Now, according to P. Sweezy's king demand curve theory of oligopoly, what is the nature of the demand curve in the upper and lower sections of the king demand curve? So there is a king demand curve, Now, in the case of king demand curve, what is the scenario in the upper and lower section? What is the case for the upper and lower section? So according to P. Sweezy's king demand curve, the upper section of demand curve is elastic, not perfectly elastic. It is elastic in nature, while the lower part is inelastic. So the upper section is elastic, and the lower section is inelastic. So the answer here should be C. Okay. So basically, the option C is the answer. The upper section is elastic. That means if a firm is increasing its price, the demand will decrease by a lot. While the lower portion is inelastic, as the firm, if it is decreasing the price, the demand will not increase by much. Okay. If it is decreasing the price, the demand will not increase by much. So upper portion is elastic while the lower portion is comparatively inelastic. So if you are increasing, if the firm is increasing the price, the demand can fall by a lot. While if the firm is decreasing the price, the demand will change slightly only. So upper section of the king demand curve has a higher price elasticity, is more elastic, while the lower part of the king demand curve is less elastic. Okay. So this is the idea. Due to the kink in the demand curve, due to this kink or due to this change in the elasticity of the demand curve, at the kink there is discontinuity in the marginal revenue. Okay. So the demand curve is also known as average revenue curve. The demand curve is also the average revenue curve, and with the average revenue curve there is marginal revenue curve. Now because of the discontinuity, because of this kink, the marginal revenue curve is discontinuous. The marginal revenue curve is discontinuous. Okay. I hope you have studied this in your classes, in your sessions and such. And if you have not studied this, then do study about the king demand curve. Okay, so this is a revision session, so I'm just trying to revise the important concepts, but you need to know that there is the elastic demand curve, the upper part of the demand curve, the upper part of the average revenue curve for the oligopoly, for the king demand curve is elastic, while the lower part is inelastic. And the upper part, for the upper demand curve there is marginal revenue, for the lower demand curve there is another marginal revenue, and due to this king demand curve there is discontinuity in marginal revenue curve. So this is the idea. Now the greater difference between the elasticity, the greater the upper part is elastic, the lesser inelastic, or the more the inelastic or the more the inelastic the lower part is. So the greater the difference between the elasticities, the more elastic the upper part is, the more inelastic the lower part is, the more there will be discontinuity between the marginal revenue curves. That is the idea. Chalo. Now coming to the next question. Under the perfect competition, if a firm's price equals marginal cost but is more than average total cost, the firm is having which of the following situation? The firm is having which of the following situation? So basically the firm's price is equal to marginal cost. Now in the perfect competition, the price is equal to average revenue is equal to marginal revenue. So price is equal to marginal cost, that means marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. So here we have the equilibrium. Here we have the equilibrium where the MR is equal to MC. MC cuts MR from below, let's say. So there is the condition of equilibrium. Now the price is greater than, now it is more, the price is equal to marginal cost and is more than the average total cost. So average revenue, the price is equal to average revenue, and the price is greater than average total cost, so average revenue is greater than average cost. So when the per unit of revenue is greater than per unit of cost, so there is the supernormal profits. There is the supernormal profits. Okay, so remember that when the average revenue is more than the average cost, then the average total cost, there is supernormal profits. When the average revenue is equal to average cost, there is normal profits. When the average revenue is less than the average cost, there is loss. There is loss. Okay, so this is the scenario. I hope this is very much clear that in which condition there are the supernormal profits, normal profits, or losses. But in all these conditions, the MR should be equal to MC. The MR should be equal to MC, and the MC should cut MR from below. So this is the equilibrium condition, and at the equilibrium point there can be loss, there can be normal profit, there can be supernormal profits in the short run in the perfect competition. Okay, so if the average revenue, if the average revenue is greater than the average total cost, this is the case of supernormal profits. This is the case of supernormal profits. So in all these conditions, in the losses, in the supernormal profits, in the normal profits, the MR should be equal to MC, the marginal revenue should be equal to marginal cost, and the MC should cut MR from below. Okay, and in all these, like if the equilibrium is being met, then the average cost should be equal to average revenue. For the normal profits, the average revenue should be greater than the average cost for the supernormal profits, and average revenue is less than the average cost. The average revenue is less than the average cost where the losses are there. This is the idea. Moving forward to the next question. In the long run equilibrium of a perfectly competitive firm. Now this is the situation. In the short run, there can be supernormal profit, there can be normal profit or losses in the short run in the perfect competition. But in the long run, what should be the situation? That you have to tell me. Let's see how many of you are able to answer this. In the long run equilibrium of a perfectly competitive firm, which of the following holds true? In the long run equilibrium, of a perfectly competitive firm, which of the following holds true? In the long run also the MR should be equal to MC. The MC cuts MR from below, but in this condition the equilibrium that is being met, at the equilibrium point the normal profit should be there, where the average revenue is equal to average cost, and there is the minimum of average cost. There is minimum of average cost that is achieved. Okay, so in the long run, in the perfect competition, there is only normal profits that can be earned. In the long run, at the equilibrium, only normal profits can be earned, and the production in the perfect competition in the long run is at minimum of average cost. So the MC is equal to MR. That means there is the equilibrium situation where the MC is equal to MR and there is average total cost at the minimum point. So D is the right answer here, because the average total cost or average cost should be at minimum point in the perfect competition in the long run equilibrium. Okay, so this is a very unique condition and this is only possible in the perfect competition. At the long run equilibrium, in the perfect competition, always the average total cost is at minimum, and this is only true in the perfect competition. Okay, so remember this. So here you can see that in the long run the firms will be earning just the normal profits, and the equilibrium will be at where the MR is equal to MC and the MC cuts MR from below, as well as here the normal profits are being earned. That means average revenue is equal to the average cost, and the average total cost is at minimum point. So this is minimum. Okay, the average cost is at minimum. Chalo. Now coming to the next point, that is which of the following correctly matches a market structure with one of its key features. So try to answer this question. Which of the following correctly matches a market structure with one of its key features? So perfect competition, there is a single seller and no close substitute. This is not true. In the perfect competition there are large number of sellers and there are close or there are perfect substitutes. Monopoly has a single seller, not many buyers. A single seller, many buyers, and sellers are selling homogeneous products. So there is a single seller, not multiple sellers. So there is a single seller which is selling a product. Okay, so monopoly doesn't seem perfectly correct because there is a single seller. Many buyers can be possible, but there is a single seller. So it should not be sellers, it is a seller. Oligopoly has a few large firms with mutual interdependence. Monopolistic competition has many sellers with differentiated products. This is correct. Monopolistic competition has many sellers with slightly differentiated or with differentiated products. Okay, duopoly has two sellers. Okay, so this is the idea. So D is the perfect answer here. Okay, the D is the perfect answer here. The D is the perfect statement that is correct. So D is the answer. Perfect competition, many sellers, homogeneous product, that is perfect substitutes of each other, free entry and exit. Monopolistic competition, many sellers, differentiated product, some control over price because of the differentiated product. Oligopoly, few large firms that have a large market share, independent decision making, may have homogeneous or differentiated product. Monopoly, single seller, unique product, high barriers to entry are there. Next, in monopolistic competition, firms produce where MC is equal to MR, but still operate with excess capacity even in long run, because of which of the following? So in monopolistic competition, firms are producing at the equilibrium point where the MC is equal to MR, MC cuts MR from below, but still operate with excess capacity even in the long run. There is excess capacity. So first of all, I hope you know that in the monopolistic competition, this is the demand curve that is also known as average revenue curve. This is the marginal revenue curve that is below the average revenue curve, and here is the equilibrium where the MR is equal to MC, and at this equilibrium point there is the price that is determined through the average revenue curve, Okay, so this is the equilibrium quantity, this is the equilibrium price where the MR is equal to MC. Now after seeing this diagram, after knowing about the monopolistic competition, firms restrict the prices to keep output high? No. The price output, this is determined by the equilibrium point. Price is equal to marginal cost? No. Marginal cost is here, the price is here. The price is not equal to the marginal cost. Okay, so this is wrong. Firms face in the monopolistic competition, firms face a downward sloping demand curve. This is correct. Average revenue is above the MR. This is correct. Average revenue is above the MR. So this seems correct. Let's see the other statements also. MC is below the MR at equilibrium. No, MC should be equal to MR na, at the equilibrium. At the equilibrium, MC should be equal to MR. Okay. And the firms face perfectly elastic demand. In the monopolistic competition, is there a perfectly elastic demand? No, the perfectly elastic demand is only in the perfect competition. So this is wrong. Average revenue and marginal revenue are identical. Average revenue and marginal revenue are not identical. Average revenue is more than the marginal revenue in monopolistic competition. Okay. So this is also wrong. MR is always above AR. No, MR is always below the AR in the monopolistic competition. So all the statements are incorrect. Only the B statement is correct. Only the B statement is correct. Okay. And here you can see that at the equilibrium point, see, even in the monopolistic competition, there are only normal profits that can be earned in the long run. In normal profits means here the average revenue is equal to the average cost. But the minimum of average cost is not achieved in the monopolistic competition because there is a downward sloping demand curve. Okay. So in the perfect competition as well as in the monopolistic competition, in both these competition, there is normal profits only that can be earned in the long run because of the free entry and exit. So there are only normal profits that can be earned in the long run. But in the perfect competition, because there is a perfectly elastic demand curve, there is a horizontal demand curve, so the production is at minimum of average cost in the long run. But in the monopolistic competition, because there is a downward sloping demand curve, so the production is not at the lower of the average cost curve. The production is not at lower of the average cost curve. So there is excess capacity that is present in the monopolistic competition. Okay. So at the equilibrium point, the production is not at the minimum of the average cost curve. Now, coming to the next question, which of the following statements is correct? Yes. Which of the following statement is correct about the relationship between AR, MR and price across the market structures? So try to answer this question. Which of the following statement is correct? In the monopoly, this is the diagram. This is the average revenue. This is the marginal revenue. This is the demand curve. So AR is equal to price. See, always AR is equal to price. Average revenue is equal to price. Average revenue curve is equal to demand curve. But in the monopoly, as well as in the monopolistic competition, the average revenue curve is higher than the marginal revenue curve. So this is not correct. Perfect competition, average revenue is greater than marginal revenue? No. In the perfect competition, average revenue, price, marginal revenue are all equal. So this is wrong. This is wrong. In the monopolistic competition, the demand curve is equal to average revenue curve. Below that is marginal revenue curve. Average revenue is also the price. The average revenue is equal to price and the average revenue is more than marginal revenue. This seems correct, right? The C seems correct because the average revenue is equal to price. Average revenue is always equal to price in all the competition. And in the monopolistic competition, average revenue is greater than the marginal revenue. Okay. In perfect competition, average revenue is less than the MR. No. The MR is equal to AR. Okay. In oligopoly, in the king demand curve also, the average revenue or the demand curve are higher than the marginal revenue. So marginal revenue is always equal AR. No. Marginal revenue is below the AR. Okay. So this was wrong. Only C is the correct statement. Only C is the correct statement. Okay. So here you can see that for different market structures, this is for perfect competition where the demand is equal to marginal revenue is equal to average revenue is equal to price. In the monopolistic competition and in monopoly, in both, demand curve is downward sloping. Demand curve is equal to average revenue curve and the marginal revenue curve is below the average revenue curve. In the king demand curve, you can see that for oligopoly, there is a king demand curve where this is the demand curve, average revenue curve, and for the average revenue, there is the marginal revenue that is below the average revenue, and there is discontinuity in the marginal revenue. Chalo. Now coming to the next question, try to answer this question. I hope you know about the different models under the oligopoly. And from the different models, the question has come in the SEBI Grade A in the previous years, in the PFRDA Grade A also. So in which of the following market model, each firm expects that the rival will keep its price constant irrespective of its own decision about the pricing, with a perpetual disequilibrium that is present in the model. So in the model, it is assumed that I can change my price, the other firm will keep its price constant, but there is perpetual disequilibrium in this model. So this is Cournot duopoly model, Chamberlain duopoly model, Sweezy duopoly model, Bertrand duopoly model, Edgeworth duopoly model. In which of the model it has been assumed that I can change my price, the other firm will keep its price constant, but there is no equilibrium that is achieved. There is perpetual disequilibrium. This is in the case of Edgeworth. Okay. So basically Cournot has said that I can change my output, the other firm will keep its output constant. So in the Cournot duopoly model, there are two firms. One firm thinks that I can change my output, the other firm will keep its output constant, but there is equilibrium that is achieved. In the Bertrand model, there are two firms. One firm thinks that I can change my price, other firm will keep its price constant, and there is equilibrium that is achieved. In the Edgeworth duopoly model, where there are two firms, it is thought that I can change my price, the other firm will keep its price constant, but there is perpetual disequilibrium because there is limited production capacity. Okay, so that's the idea. Now coming to the next question, Dash rejects the assumption of independent action by competitors. Okay, so I have given you certain important points about the models, so you can read the important points for all the models. Like for the other models also, Chamberlain, Sweezy, there will be those lines that will be given in the coming slides. We will be discussing about that in the coming slide, but here I've provided you the material in brief so that you can know about the important points in brief. Okay, like in the Bertrand, there is unlimited production capacity, there is stable equilibrium. In the Edgeworth, there is perpetual disequilibrium, there is limited production capacity. So there are important points that have been summarized here for you. Now coming to the next question, try to answer this question. Dash rejects the assumption of independent actions by competitors. That means this particular model rejects the assumption that the competitors are taking the steps independently and they are unaware about the step that the other firm will take. Okay, like in the Cournot, in the Bertrand, it was assumed that I can change my output or I can change my price, the other firm will keep its price constant or will keep its output constant. But here the model assumes that there is no independent action. The firm know that if I'm changing my price or if I'm changing my output, the other firm will also change the price or output, or other firm can also change the price or output. So he says, this particular model says that the firms do in fact recognize their interdependence and their interdependent steps or the actions. Firms, when changing their own price or output, recognize the direct and indirect effects of their decisions on the other firm. And by recognizing the full effects of change in the firm's output or price, the firm recognizes that the other firm can also change the price or output, and that's why with the recognition of the mutual interdependence, there is a stable industry equilibrium with monopoly price and monopoly output. So this model was given by Chamberlain duopoly model it is. Okay, this is the Chamberlain duopoly model. So basically Chamberlain has said that maximum joint profits can be achieved and a stable equilibrium can be achieved with the monopoly price with the monopoly output if the firms recognize their mutual interdependence and the firm take the actions in that manner that they are recognizing their mutual interdependence. Okay, so even without any collusion, even without any agreement, even without any collusive agreement, still the maximum joint profits can be achieved. The monopoly price, monopoly output can be produced if the firms recognize their interdependence and they recognize that if they are changing their price or output, it can affect the other firm also. Sweezy, Hall and Hitch, they have talked about the King demand curve. Okay, now Chamberlain, here you can read the complete or the detailed information about the Chamberlain, like there are pages and pages of the Chamberlain theory, but that much you do not have to cover. So here is the summary about the Chamberlain duopoly model that you can read. Okay, if you want to know more about the Chamberlain duopoly model, you can search it in Google. A lot of information has been provided, or if you have the course, you can read it in the course. But this is the summarized information about the Chamberlain duopoly model. Now coming to the next one, next question. According to Kuhn's duopoly model, which of the following statement is most accurate regarding the behavior and equilibrium of firms in a duopolistic market? In the duopolistic market where there are only two firms. See, Kuhn's duopoly model has said that a firm will change its output thinking that the other will keep its output constant. Firm A is changing its output thinking that the firm B will keep its output constant. Now the firm A and firm B is meeting the equilibrium. They are able to have the profits, but the joint profits. So the firms individually are maximizing their profits, but the joint profits in the market are not maximized. Now the firms are producing how much? So the firms produce 1 upon n plus 1. Okay, that means each firm produces 1 upon n plus 1. N is the number of firms. So if there are two firms, so 1 upon 2 plus 1. So each firm is producing 1/3. Each firm is producing 1/3. Okay. So each firm fully anticipates the rival's output reaction? No. The firm assumes that the other firm will keep its output constant. Could equilibrium results in each firm producing half of the total output? No. Each firm, if there are two firms, each firms are producing 1/3 only. Each firm assumes the rival's output remains constant, leading to an eventual equilibrium where each produces 1/3 of the total market output. This is correct. Each firm assumes that the rival will keep its output constant, leading to an eventual equilibrium where each produces 1/3 of the total market output, because there is the formula that is given 1 upon n plus 1. Okay. So n is the number of firms. So this is the idea. The earliest duopoly model was developed by French economist Augustin Cournot in 1838. Here it was said that each firm acts on the assumption that its competitor will not change its output. I can change my output, the other competitor will not change its output. This is the idea. A stable equilibrium is reached under the Cournot model where each firm is producing 1 upon n plus 1. So each firm is producing, if there are two number of firms, so each firm is producing 1/3. Okay, the Stackelberg model was developed by the German economist Heinrich von Stackelberg. This is an extension of the Cournot model. It is assumed by von Stackelberg that one duopolist is sufficiently sophisticated, is intelligent, and recognizes that the other competitor is acting on the Cournot assumption. Okay, so here the Stackelberg says that the sophisticated firm will become the leader and the naive firm will be the follower. Okay, so you can read more about it, but this is the basic idea. Now coming to the next question. So I hope this is clear, and here there is a sophisticated firm and there is a naive firm. The naive firm has the Cournot assumption that I can change my output, the other firm will keep its output constant. Sophisticated firm knows that the other firm is working on the Cournot assumption and can lead the other firm according to the intelligence, or because the sophisticated firm is sophisticated, that knows the behavior of the other firm, so it can lead the market. It is the leader. Now coming to the next question. If the market value of all final goods and services produced within a country during a year is 200 lakh crore. So the market value of all the final goods and services that is produced within a country, that is GDP at market price. All the goods and services, all the final goods and services produced in the country during a year, the market value of all the goods and services. So this is GDP at MP. Now we have been given the indirect taxes, we have been given the subsidies. You have to calculate GDP at FC. So from market price to factor cost, from market to factory, deduct the indirect taxes, add the subsidies. So GDP at MP is 200 lakh crore, deduct the indirect taxes 15 lakh crore and add the subsidies 5 lakh crore. So here GDP at FC will be 190 lakh crore. Very good, 190 lakh crore. So answer here is B. So if you have to go from the market price to factor cost, just deduct the indirect taxes, add the subsidies. If you have to go from factory to market, add the indirect taxes, deduct the subsidies. This is the answer. This is the idea. Okay. Next is, if India's GDP is 250 lakh crore and income earned by Indians from abroad is 20 lakh crore while income earned by foreigners in India is 10 lakh crore, what is India's GNP? So GDP is given. Now you have to calculate the GNP. So from domestic to national, add the factor income from abroad, deduct the factor income to abroad. So add the net factor income from abroad. Okay. So from domestic to national, add the net factor income from abroad. So now the information has been given, you just have to put. See, if you know about the concept, you will be able to easily answer if a numerical come. If a numerical come, it will be a direct numerical. You can answer that if you know the concepts. So GDP is 250. Factor income from abroad, how much we have earned from abroad? 20 lakh crore. How much we have given to foreigners? For factor income to abroad that we have given to foreigners, that is 10. So here GNP is 260 lakh crore. That is C is the answer. Okay? कोई confusion किसी को? Any confusion anyone? So if you have to go from domestic to national, add the net factor income from abroad. Net factor income from abroad is factor income from abroad minus factor income to abroad. This is the idea. Okay? Chalo. So this is the formulas that you have to keep in mind. From factor cost to market price, add the indirect taxes, deduct the subsidies. From domestic to national, add the net factor income from abroad. From net to gross, add the depreciation. From net to gross, add the depreciation. Chalo. Now coming to the next question, try to answer this question. See, I have given you this question because if you are able to solve this question, that means you know the whole concept that is involved in the income method, that is involved in the conversion in the national income chapter. So this one question is testing your 3 or 4 concept knowledge. Okay, so try to answer this question. Take your time, take the 1 minute time and try to answer this. So here you have to calculate GDP at FC. Through the formula directly, you can calculate. Through the income method, you can calculate NDP at FC. NDP at FC, compensation of employees plus profit plus interest plus rent plus mixed income of self-employed. So compensation of employees is to 2500, mixed income is 7500, profits are 700, interest is 350, rent is 400. Okay, so here if you add this up, you are getting 11,000. So this is 10,000, this is 11,000, 450. Now you have the NDP at FC. You have to go to GDP at FC because you have to calculate GDP at FC, right? So from the net to gross, you have to go from net to gross. So you have the NDP at FC, you have the NDP at FC, you have to calculate GDP at FC as per the formula. Okay, so from net to gross, add the depreciation. So in 11,450, add the depreciation, that is 70, that is given 70. So what is the answer here? The answer is 11,520. So the answer here is D. Okay, got it? So the answer here is D. Chalo, this is the formula. So for your income method, this is the formula, that is compensation of employees, rent plus interest plus profit plus mixed income. Profit is divided into 3 parts: dividend, undistributed profit and corporate tax. So if profit is directly given, add the profit. Okay, then ignore the dividend and the other parts because in the profit itself, the dividend is already added. The corporate tax, the undistributed profit is already added. But if the profit is not given, then you can add the dividend and undistributed profit and the corporate tax if they are given. Okay, so that's the idea. Now the value added method, through the value added method, you can calculate GVA at MP, value of output minus intermediate consumption, value of output minus intermediate consumption. So through the value added method, you are calculating GVA at MP. You are seeing the value addition that is happening in the intermediate goods. So value of output minus intermediate consumption. So this is the value addition that has happened. Value of output is 100 minus intermediate consumption of 20. So the value addition that has happened is 80 rupees. On the intermediate goods, the value addition that has happened is this. So gross value addition at market price is calculated through value of output minus intermediate consumption. This shows value added method. Okay, this is the expenditure method where we are adding all the expenditure that is happening on the domestic products, all the expenditure that is happening on the domestic products. So these are the 3 methods for calculating your national income or domestic income. This is your expenditure method, income method, value added method. Okay, the formulas have been given here. I hope you already know about the formulas, but if you are not aware about the formulas, you can remember the formulas from here. The expenditure method adds all the expenditure, the private final consumption expenditure, government final consumption expenditure, gross domestic capital formation, that is investment, plus net exports. This is your expenditure method that calculates GDP at MP. Value added method calculates GVA at MP. Value of output minus intermediate consumption, it shows the value addition on the intermediate goods. This is your income method. Okay, now coming to the next question, try to answer this question. So you can convert your GDP at market price into the GVA at basic price. Okay, so GDP at market price, this shows the expenditure side, this shows the consumer side, while the GVA at basic price, this shows the supply side. This shows the supply side or the producer side. So if you have to convert between GDP at MP and GVA at basic price, or GVA at basic price and GDP at MP, so how the conversion will happen? So basically the formula is GVA at basic price is equal to GDP at market price. So GVA and GDP means the same. GVA basically says that we are seeing the value addition side, we are seeing the supply side. GDP means that we are seeing the expenditure side or we are seeing the consumer side. So GVA sees the producer side, GDP sees the consumer side, but they are like GDP and GVA can be interchangeably used. Now basically we have to convert the basic price into market price. So in the basic price, add the net product taxes. In the GVA, you have to add the product taxes and deduct the product subsidies. Okay, so you have to add the net product taxes. Got it? Because in the market price, we are paying all the taxes. We are paying the product taxes. We are paying the goods and services tax and such. So in the market price, actually you have to add the net product, like you have to include the net product taxes. So if you have to convert, this is the basic formula that you have to keep in mind, that if you want to convert your GVA at basic price to GDP at market price, add the net product taxes. Add the product taxes and deduct the product subsidies. Okay. Product taxes like the goods and services tax, custom duty, excise duty and such. While the product subsidies, they are like the subsidies that are given on each unit. Chalo. So this is the formula that you have to keep in mind. In the NSO document also, National Statistical Office, when it releases the data, it also shows that GVA at basic price, in this add the net product taxes, add the net product taxes basically to get to the GDP at market price. So in the GVA at basic price, add the net product taxes to get to the GDP at market price. No, that is from the factor cost. Factor cost is different. Okay, factor cost is different. When you are going from, so there are three things. There is factor cost, basic price and market price. If you are going from factor cost to market price, add the indirect taxes, deduct the subsidies. If you are going from basic price to market price, add the product tax, deduct the product subsidy. So add the net product tax. Got it? Pulkit, is it clear? Now, if you have to go from factor cost to basic price, if you have to go from GVA at factor cost or GDP at factor cost to GVA at basic price, add the net production taxes. Add the production taxes, deduct the production subsidies. Add the production taxes, deduct the production subsidies. Production taxes, they are like the land revenue, stamp duty, registration fee and such. Production subsidies, they are the subsidies that are independent of the volume of production, like the subsidies like the Kisan Samman Nidhi that is given to the farmers, irrespective of how much they are producing. They will get rupees 6,000 each year. Okay. So basically the production subsidies, the production taxes, they are independent of the volume of actual production. The production subsidies, they are independent of the volume of actual production. While the product taxes and the product subsidies, they depend on per unit of product. Okay, and they are levied on per unit of product. Chalo, these are the formulas that you have to keep in mind. Okay, what is the formula for GDP deflator? So we have discussed the formula for GVA at basic price to GVA to GDP at market price, add the net product taxes. We have discussed that GVA at factor cost can be converted to GVA at basic price by adding the net production tax. This is net product tax. Okay, so there is difference. GVA at basic price can be converted into GDP at market price by adding the net product tax. GVA at factor cost can be converted into GVA at basic price by adding the net production taxes. Chalo, now coming to the next formula, GDP deflator. So this is easy question. Such a question can come in your phase 1, even in your phase 2. Such a question can come where directly GDP deflator formula has been asked. So nominal GDP divided by real GDP multiplied by 100. So this is the GDP deflator formula. So nominal GDP divided by real GDP multiplied by 100. Do not get confused when there are so many of the multiplication, division sign that has been shown. Just focus on the correct formula and try to answer that. Yes. So the B is the answer, that GDP price deflator, it is the nominal GDP divided by real GDP multiplied by 100. Direct, easy formula. Okay. Next, coming to the last second question. So which of the following statements is or are considered for calculating the national income? Try to answer this. So all the addition of value, that means all the value addition to the intermediate goods by a firm in the production process is included in value added method. So in the value added method, we are adding the value addition that is happening on the intermediate goods. So this is in the value addition method, absolutely correct. All the expenditure made on goods and services produced in the domestic territory during a year is included in expenditure method. So all the expenditure that we are doing, on the goods that are domestically produced. So is this included in expenditure method? Yes, all the expenditure that we are doing on the goods and services produced in the domestic territory. So this is included in expenditure method. This is the expenditure method. All the income generated by factors of production and transfer payments, are they included in income method? Are they included in income method while calculating the national income? No. Why? Because transfer payments, they are not included in national income. They are never included in national income. Okay, so third one is wrong, because the transfer payments, they are known as unilateral payments. They are the unilateral payments like the unemployment allowances, old age pension. So they are unilateral payments. They are transfer payments that are not included in national income. National income only includes the earned income, where you are providing your service, where you are providing your factor services, you are getting the factor payment. So the national income only includes the income of the factors of production. It does not include unilateral payment. It does not include transfer payment, that are the unilateral payments like unemployment allowances, old age pension and such. So first and second were correct. Third was wrong. Got it? Yes, very good everyone. Now, so these are the different methods. Value added method sees the value addition, the addition of value to the intermediate goods. Income method, it adds all the income that is earned, that is the earned income. So income method only includes the earned income. It does not include the transfer payments, the unilateral payments. Okay. Expenditure method adds all the expenditure that is happening on the goods produced in the domestic territory. So all the expenditure that is being done on the goods and services produced in the domestic territory, that is included in expenditure method. Now, coming to the last question for today, try to answer this question. So consider the following statements and try to tell that which of the following statement is correct. Okay, so which of the following statement is correct? So net domestic product is usually lower than the gross domestic product. This is correct because the gross domestic product includes the depreciation. It includes the depreciation, while the net domestic product does not include the depreciation. So net domestic product is usually lower than the gross domestic product because the GDP includes the depreciation in the GDP. If you are going from the NDP to GDP, if you are going from the net to gross, you are adding the depreciation. So in the GDP, the depreciation is added. So it is greater than the NDP. So this is correct. GNP calculation, gross national product, it includes all the income generated by the normal residents of our country. So GNP includes all the income generated by the normal residents of our country which are living in India for more than 182 days and their economic interest, their economic activity, their productive activity is happening in India. So GNP includes all the income of the normal residents who are living in India for more than 182 days, their economic interest, their production activity is happening in India. So GNP calculation takes into account the income of Mr. John, who is a US citizen, who is working in India as a guest faculty for 3 months for only 90 days. So no. Mr. John, if he was living in India for more than 182 days, then his income would have been added in GNP. But right now he is not a normal resident of India because he is not living in India for more than 182 days. Okay, so this is second is incorrect. So GNP includes the income of the normal residents who is living in India for more than 182 days and their economic interest, their production activity, their productive services are in India. GDP calculation takes into account the goods produced in Mumbai, in India. So all the goods that are produced in India by whoever, we don't care. We only care that the goods should be produced in India. So they are included in GDP. So the GDP calculation takes into account the goods produced by a foreign company based in Mumbai, based in India. So yes, GDP includes all the production that is happening in India. So 3 is correct. So C is the answer. Everyone gave the answer C and that is absolutely correct. So this is it. We have discussed the 25 questions, the 25 MCQs for today. I hope you enjoyed the session and do tell me that out of 25, how many questions you have given the right answer of. Okay, so after 25, how much marks you have got, so that you have to tell me in the comment section below. So this is it for today. Thank you everyone. Thank you for joining. I hope you have got 15 plus right now. That is a safe score. But if you have got 20 plus, that means you have a good hold of the topics. But if you have got 15 plus, that means you are in the right direction, you are studying well, but you have to revise more. Okay, so 15 plus is a safe score, but 20 plus is a very, very good score. Okay, so do tell me in the comment section below that how much score you have got. And this is it for today's session. The link for the Telegram channel is provided in the description box below. So just go to the description box. In the description box, the link for the Telegram channel of EduTab that is provided, and the PDF you can get in the Telegram channel within 24 hours. Okay. Thank you everyone. Thank you for joining. This is it for today. Thank you for joining the session. Tomorrow I will bring the next 25 questions for your practice from the next chapters, from the classical and Keynesian theory, from the ISLM model, from the demand and supply of money. From these chapters I will bring the next 25 questions. So be prepared, and tomorrow I will meet you again at this time at 2 p.m. Thank you everyone.